what needs to be done. It's not one agency's or one actor's work. But I think we have to want to do it first. Unless we want to do it, I don't think we're getting there.
Can I just jump in over there as well? Because I think a couple of things that I wanted to pick up on from what Samir mentioned. Yes, funding is important. And Samir, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend your previous session, but you called out a couple of things, and I think narratives, what are the trade-offs, as Samir called out. And they need to be able to engage in a constructive solution-focused manner, right? Climate anxiety is a real thing, and we're not winning anything by actually. So I will not engage, and I'm also deeply anxious.
Yeah, and just to carry on from there, I was going to say, I left it on a really negative note, what I was saying, and the truth is that there is a difference being made already. I think what it is visuals making a difference. What I mean by that is that each of us makes a difference. We can spot, if you take it away from broad discussions, people making a difference with this. At the individual level, there are people spotting problems and creating startups out of these. Just reach into them. Could we solve that problem? Today they're working with guys like L'Oreal on shampoo bottle recycling. It's very, very specific, right? Or they work with the Tata company for recycling bumpers. The point is you could pick a very specific problem that you know how to solve and build a company around that. You can make money from it, you can change things, but find a problem that you deeply care about. What happens a lot is you talk at a very high level, like I said, and then you're like, well, that's above me, so I can't do anything about it, forget it, I'll go do my thing. Look, if you really care, for specific things that you can do, and engage with them. It doesn't have to be you personally. Maybe you're engaging with a startup, maybe you're creating a fund, whatever you're doing. We have individual responsibility is the point. Don't think of it only at the macro level.
And finally, to that, as what can promote their product, I think there are so many different ways to actually get involved.
Yeah. So I don't want to. I'm not saying that individual efforts don't count. Of course they do, because they all add up. But I'm still asking this question, given the size of the problem. And let us just talk in the Indian context. If there are actually so many people who are concerned at all in doing something, why is there not, why don't we see that happening to the extent that these people can come together? Because there are certain things that have to be done at the policy level, right? It can't be just my individual choice not to do this or that. Why, if we have already a constituency in a city like Hyderabad, or in the state of Telangana, or in different parts of India, aren't these coming together enough to make their voice heard with the people who are making policy? And that policy is not shifting. As I said, grand words are said at international fora, but when you come down to it, where is the shift? Are we seeing a shift? Maybe I'm missing it, but I'm not seeing there are other preoccupations. It's the only thing that's going to lead to that change. So I'm still asking all three of you, how can we move beyond individual choices to actually articulate the policy changes that we demand as citizens of this country? Maybe we start at the municipal level, but somewhere that kind of intervention has to be seen. It can't remain dispersed the way it is.
It's two things. One, why are you not seeing a change? It's because the media doesn't cover all of it, right? It's not sexy necessarily. But there's a lot of events, if you're in that space, of people coming together who are making a difference in that space. We have Kakatiya Sandbox just did a development dialogue, for example, where a whole bunch of people came together, all working on different sets of problems. But it's not reported about, so you and I may not know about it. You may not know about it if you're not part of that world. So that's one, right? Is just hearing about what's going on. Unless you're in the space, you probably don't know. I'm very sure that Maya's plugged in and he has a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. I know you do, Samir, for sure. But the general person on the street might not. Secondly, I think at the end of the day, you can try and influence a government. It's very, very hard. You could try and influence your local politician, right? Government itself is impossible, but your local politician. But how many people truly care about it today? Even if you do, how do you make that difference? You've seen, right? Governments, they meet at global events, they all talk about it, they will make resolutions, and nothing will move. For me, I just put my effort where I know I can make a difference, which is my startups, my work, all of that. I don't look at the big picture. I just don't know how to do that.
So yes, absolutely right, as in each citizen, that's what we do with voting in democracy. We get very macro level movements based on each individual opinion. You're a fractal of a very large landscape, right? And you can move mountains by starting to believe in it and starting to spread that belief. And it's amazing how it just starts to happen all over the map. It's like how you said curd, right? It just happens. Active probably is just spread randomly. So I think there, one huge missing piece is us owning our places. Like you do this for your house every day, you make better trade-offs, but you don't own our places today. As a citizenry, I can't own your house, so the government can't own your house either. The government can provide you resources, the market can provide you resources, but you own your house. Who owns the village? Who owns the city ward? And if you're not making the trade-offs, like we go ahead and ask for better roads. Do we ask for spawn cities? How many people have heard of the idea of a spawn city? A sponge city, right? Or the fact that you need to have at least 30% shaded area in your ward. Right? Where are those metrics? Right? I mean, air quality is an outcome. Climate change is an outcome. But if your behaviors stay the same, why will you get different outcomes? And it's not like everybody else on the planet will change everything, but your ward and your place will continue to do exactly what it was doing for the last 200 years. It's not like we'll get a different planet if we don't improve each place on it, right? So, as citizenry, as individuals, as problem solvers, how do we start to own our place first? How do we start to account for these trade-offs, that we're not making poor choices? And then demand that this is an investment into our future, this is an investment into our places. Right? I mean, if your next generation is going to get cancer at 39, which is the US statistic right now, that's not a great outcome. That's not the outcome you're working your butt off for. Right? Like it's not what you're trying to create for your coming generations. Right? Then I think if we start to understand this and internalize it, we will bear pressure on government. I mean, our priority is finally the government's priority. Today we want glass-planted buildings, paved surfaces everywhere. We do not think of the tar and the concrete going in as a mountain that got converted to that. We think of the infrastructure as a very cool piece of infrastructure. But it came from a mountain somewhere. It came from a riverbed somewhere. How many riverbeds are you ready to sacrifice for 20 kmph faster travel? Right? How many such trade-offs are you willing to take? Right? So if you start to look at it from a view, sense of your own place, sense of your own river, sense of your own mountains, they are yours. They're not an abstract entity that live elsewhere. You will start to create pressure for this. We have the money. We have gigantic corpuses of money in camper funds, in Menrega, in gazillion different schemes, in incubators, in philanthropies to a smaller extent, and so on and so forth, in people's pockets. Right? But what are our goals? If we do not imagine these goals collectively, I'm afraid, some of us will try. I agree with you, it's probably too late. Right? We have to, on the way down from a cliff, you can either shriek your way down or look for a branch or flap your arms or do one of those things. I'd rather do that. On the positive.
I just want to say that, fully aligned with what Amir was saying, which is that there is coming together as a collective and eventually that actually getting translated into a larger mandate from a policy level. Having said which, obviously, as someone who works in climate finance, policy is not, I would say, my area of expertise. I'm speaking more, I would say, at this.
I don't want to say that I just said it's too late when I sit over here and talk about climate finance, etc.